Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be doing this today. We're going to be showing you how to make your armature and set it up with a little inverse kinematics. So you can do stuff like this. You can go grab a control thing and it moves the foot. All right, and if we're in side view, you can see you can just do a plain grab. Okay, move the feet with some inverse kinematics and body bone. Okay, controls the main body skeleton, and then if you need to, sort of a master bone with overall control that'll move the whole bird. Now I haven't linked the bird yet, but that's the goal of this video by the end. Okay, about 15 minutes. Hey everybody, in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through adding an armature into your box bird. We'll do some forking, some mirroring, some inverse kinematics, some eye control, parenting. We'll get it all set up, see how fast we can do this. Okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to hit 1 to go to a little front view. I'm just going to sort of center it a little bit here. And there we go. Pretty good. And in object mode, I'm going to add an armature. So I add the armature. You don't see it. It's inside the bird. So I'm going to go down to the little running man here, your object data. I'm going to go to viewport display. And I'm going to put in front so we see it. And this is going to be like a main body bone. But I do want the body bone to just face the other way. So let's go into edit mode. Let's have the tip selected, and you can just grab it and hit Z, so G and Z, and just like that. And I just want to position the actual bone now. So grab, select the bone, grab. Let's move it up. And I'm just going to turn sideways here. I just want to position this. I'm going to hit 3 for a side view. And I just want to get this, so it's going to be above the legs. I'll do a little wireframe. Okay, so that's where the legs are. So let's go right around here. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's going to be my body bone. I may as well name it. So I'm going to go to the bone tab, and I'll just name this body bone. Okay, and that'll be a key bone in our bird. It's like our central point that things are going to anchor to. Okay, get parented to. All right, hit the 1, get the front view again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically make a forked armature and for the legs and the feet. Okay, so I'm going to go from here. I'm going to fork and do a hip, an upper leg bone, a lower leg bone, and a foot bone. Okay, so here we go. First thing I want to do is, in this view, hit N to pop open your little panel here. And you'll select the tool tab and hit X axis mirror. Okay, what that's going to let us part of the solution how to get the forked stuff going. Okay, and then click on the ball here, the end of the joint, hit E to extrude, and hit X so it's only in the X direction, and get it so it goes right above the leg, and click. Now, before you extrude again, check this out. You have a little extrude window that always pops up when you use tools. It's a little subtle, but pop it open and hit forked. Okay, and then we get the same bone going on the other side perfectly, right? So we just make this once. Okay, that's the purpose of the X mirror and the forked. All right, let's keep going. Let's make sure this thing is actually in place. I'm going to hit 3. Yeah, looks good, right? Check as you go along, right? The front view, side view. Okay, let's come down. So E to extrude, Z, so we come down. Okay, not bad. And let's do the 3. Okay, it's a bit angled, so let's use grab Y, GY. Let's get it right back there. Okay, let's extrude again, E, and bring it down there. Let's extrude again, straight out. So let's hit Y, EY. And while we're here, click on this ball again. I'll show you this. Click on the ball again and extrude, but this time do Y and go backwards. This is going to be an IK bone, or a target, sorry. So when the legs move, we're going to use this bone to control the movement. Okay, and that's really it. You can see there we have a nice leg setup going. Now that's really it for the legs. Okay, we're going to leave that for now. And now let's do the neck and the head. Okay, now for the neck and the head, I don't actually have to branch off this bone here. I can start wherever I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to front view, and I'm just going to go add bone. Okay, a lot of students, they go into object mode and they make a new armature. Do not start a new armature. We're only going to have one armature for this whole thing. Okay, so in edit mode, that's where you add bones. So add a bone. Now it's currently selected. Hit G to grab it. Whoops. Click on it, I guess. Grab it. Come on. There we go. G. Grab it. Get it sort of in the neck region. Now if you move it off center, right, that's why it's good to hit GZ, right, so it just moves up. Sort of get it there. You can turn the bird sideways. We're way off. GY. Grab this guy here. Grab. There's a little neck bone. Wherever you want your head pivot point to be, that's where you should bring this ball to. So that's not bad there. And E to extrude. And that's just a little head bone. Okay, we can use to control the head. Looks good. Okay, and that's the neck and the head. Now I will do the eyes later on. Okay, but I'll sneak those in later. Now what I'm going to do here is I want to name the bones. So I'll just name 1 or 2 bones, and then I'll sort of jump the video, right? Let's hide this. So to name the bones, click on a bone. You're on the bone tab. You saw name it, body bone. Same thing here now. With this bone here, this is technically the left side of the bird, right? So let's name this. Let's name this hip dot capital L. Okay, naming convention. And then the other hip is going to be, you guessed it, hip dot capital R. And I'm going to keep naming the bones. Okay, I'm going to go through the whole way. But then after I've named all the bones, there's one thing special that I'm going to do. Okay, these bones down here, this bone is going to be called foot target dot L. Okay, foot target left. And then this one down here can be called foot target dot right. So dot R. Okay, you can also call them the IK bones, inverse kinematic, or target, right? Because technically they're going to be targets. And now, very important, these bones, I want them to move freely. I don't want them to be linked to the skeleton, right? They're not part of the skeleton, so I want to clear their parenting. I don't want them to be part of this anymore. You see, right now, they're part of the skeleton, so if I move the leg, they're going to end up moving. So to clear that out, you basically go in edit mode, the bone tab, go to relations. Okay, so I'm on the bones, relations, parent, take it out. Okay, and do that for the other one too. Make sure you got the bone, relations, clear it. Okay, and while we're also in here, you don't have to do this next step, but I think for just our little assignment it's useful, is this bone. It should have a parent, that's good, but inherit rotation, take it off for now. And inherit rotation, take it off. What this will do is as the leg bends up and down, the foot will stay sticking straight out. And I mean, it's arguable whether this is going to be important in what you're doing or not, but just so you know, that's where I did it. You could turn it back on later on. Okay, so go through naming your bones now, right? And so I'm going to do here lower leg dot L. Anyways, I'll do this and then I'll come back. Okay, so I basically have all my bones nicely named now. Now let's get the inverse kinematic stuff going here. Okay, so for the inverse kinematics, basically what you want to do is you want to tell this thing that when I pick up this little bone here and move it up and down and around, this leg should automatically bend properly. Okay, and sort of look good. So here we go. I take this bone here, lower leg dot L. I'm going to go into pose mode. Okay, this is where the bone constraints are added. So pose mode. And I'm going to go to bone constraints, add a constraint, and do inverse kinematics. Okay, and by default, we just got to do a few things here. Okay, the target, what should it follow? Well, I want to follow my armature, specifically bone foot target left. I'm not going to do the pole target. That controls like twisting as it bends, but I'm not going to bother doing that. And chain length. How many bones are involved? 0 means all of them. Well, I don't want it to go from here all the way up the chain. I only want 2 bones, this bone and this bone, to be doing the moving. So just set it to 2. And that's it. And already, if you do this right, correctly, what you should see is when you pick up this bone and you go grab Z, okay, it's doing it. And because I made the armature totally vertical, straight up and down, and I had a little bit of bend in the leg already, it knows which way the leg should bend. If you're doing a leg that's going to bend, you should add even the slightest, like even like a 0.1 of a degree, a little bit of a bend in it, so it knows which way, you know, help it out in the calculations. So that's not bad. Alt-G, just to put that back where it is. But the inverse kinematics is working. You're going to notice that if I go down, yeah, it comes apart. That's totally fine. Okay, if it comes apart, it's all good. Okay, you're not going to do that when you do it. You're just going to be using it like this. Okay, so it's pretty good. Alt-G. And then just do the same thing for the other leg. Okay, so I got both the legs working now. The neat thing here is if you actually grab both of these in pose mode and grab Z, right? Both the legs are moving. Okay, that's perfect. And if I grab Y, you know, it's working nicely. Okay, so Alt-G. And now I just got to do a few things of parenting and create another bone or two. So one thing you're going to notice when I grab the body bone, right, which is sort of connected here, you know, to all these. When I grab the body bone, I go GZ in pose mode, it makes the legs bend, right? And when it jumps up. Now this is fine, and we've talked in class before that, well, this is good, but what happens if you want, first of all, everything to move? Well, let's start nipping away at a few extra parentings here. So what I'm going to do is back to edit mode. Actually, just let me make sure everything was reset here. Alt-G. Okay. Back to edit mode. And I'm going to parent the neck bone to the body bone. So select the neck bone in edit mode, hold shift, select the body bone, and hit Control P. And parent keeping the offset, right? We don't want them to lock up together, all right? We want to keep their distance. Okay, perfect. Now you can see when you control the body bone in pose mode, all right, the head's going to follow, right? Perfect. Alt-G just to reset everything there. Okay, so that bone, and you can see the parenting line, right? The dot, 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 dot. That's going there. Okay, if you add wings to this, you're going to do the same thing. If you have a right wing and a left wing, the start of the wing should be parented to the body bone. Now we have one little issue here is if I want to move the whole bird up, so I'm in pose mode, hit Z here. If I move the whole bird up, the legs straighten. I might want to keep the bending in the legs, right? But the whole bird actually moves up. So for this, we need one extra little parenting relationship in this. So let's Alt-G, get everything back to normal. Okay, so what I do now is I make one more bone. Okay, and I mean, you can just basically in edit mode, just make one more bone. I'll do this a little fancy way here. I'll just take the cursor, see where the cursor is? The cursor is still the dead center of the world, but you can do this really any way you want. I'll just go add bone. Okay, I'm going to select it, grab Z. This bone can hang way up here. You can even scale it a little bigger so it's obvious it's important. And just make sure it's dead center. If you were off center, remember you can always use your little N tab here and the item, and it gives you the location, right? So you can always zero out the locations in XY and XY. So it's nice straight up and down. And this bone I'm going to call master. Okay, this is like the master control for the object when you want to move it. And what do I want to parent to this? Well, if I take this bone, shift to the master and parent, keeping the offset. That's good. Let's see what that does. Well, now when I grab the master, well, whoops, sorry. Undo that. I have to be in pose mode. If I grab the master, well, really it's the same thing. The legs are still bending, right? And here's the problem. Let's say I want the whole bird to go up. Well, the legs are still being forced to stick to those targets. So the legs have to straighten out as the body comes up if they're going to try to stay attached to these little guys down here. Same thing if I move down, right? Whoa. Let's go back. Okay, so same thing here. And so the solution of this is that when the master bone moves up, let me just put it back where it was. When the master bone moves up, I need these target bones to also move up. So go into edit mode, select both the target bones for the leg, and then hit shift again and select this one last. And now we parent that. So Control P, keep the offset, and you can see all the lines going here. It's getting messy, but now you can see the overall effect. You can go into pose mode and check this out. When you use the body bone, you control the body of the bird. Good. You can pose it into a pose. When you use the master bone, the whole skeleton's going to move. So the whole bird will be moving. Okay, like forward, back, tilting, you know, straight up, down, etc. So that's the purpose of this final bone, right? To give you that option. Okay, Alt-G. And let's get this one. Let's just select all. Alt-G. Perfect. You go into edit mode. If you've always been resetting your pose properly before you leave, your edit mode and your pose mode should be identical, right? If they're not, you know you've left things moved funny. Okay, now that's about it for this point, right? What I'll do in the next video is I'll add the eye control. What I haven't done yet is attach the skeleton, right? But you're just going to do stuff like this for every single piece on this. You know, I'll do it as a last step, but for every single piece, you'll take your object. Oops, let's get into object mode. You'll take like the foot piece, and you're going to shift, and you're going to eventually parent it to this bone, so it follows. And you're going to do that piece by piece, parent every piece to the appropriate bone, right? If you actually want to see your model moving with this now, but usually we do that at the very end, right? Okay, so we'll see you in the next video, and that's when I'll do the eyeball setup.